Every heart's a page, woven through the moments, the struggles and the change. No scripts, no filters, no lines to rehearse, just real people sharing all the beauty and the hurt. These are the threads that connect you and me, honest conversations lived authentically. Every voice matters, every journey shines through. Real stories, real people, unscripted and true.
Welcome back to Building on Threads. This is the podcast where we explore stories and experiences and the people who are helping to strengthen the fabric of our communities one connection at a time. I'm your host, Carrie O'Connor, and today we're joined by somebody whose work is making a significant impact in the fields of addiction, recovery, and mental health awareness and wellness here in North Bay. Our guest is Corey Clouthier, founder of Firebrand Recovery and a Canadian certified addictions counselor. Corey brings more than a decade of experience working in addictions treatment and recovery services. His approach is grounded in not only professionalism and training, but clinical experience, as well as a deep understanding of the realities faced by individuals navigating addictions, as well as recovery. Throughout his career, he's worked in residential treatment centers, facilitating programs and providing support to individuals who make lasting changes in their lives. Through Firebrand Recovery, Corey is dedicated to helping individuals and families find hope, healing, and practical pathways forward. His work focuses on meeting people where they are and reducing stigma and creating opportunities for meaningful recovery and personal growth. Today, we'll be talking about addictions, recovery, the challenges facing our communities, and what it truly means to support people on their journey towards healing. We'll also learn more about Corey, what inspired him to enter the field, and the vision behind Firebrand Recovery. Corey, thanks for joining us, and we're excited to have you on Building with Threads.
Thanks for having me, Carrie. I appreciate the invitation and the offer to be here.
Yeah, so did I get anything in your intro wrong before we start?
No, so Firebrand kind of was created between a friend of mine. His name is Josh Eisbrenner. He is a pastor in Florida. We went to the same treatment center together.
Okay. So you've been through it as a person then?
Yeah. So I had originally, I'll give you a kind of a backstory. I've suffered with addiction and been through a lot of trauma, grief, and my own demons from the time I was a teenager until I hit 33. And then at 33, kind of life broke down in jail for the fourth or fifth time. Not a whole lot left. Intravenous drug addict, OD'd several times. I had tried recovery on my own a number of times. I'd been to 30-day treatment centers, all those kind of things that I tried before going to a long-term residential treatment center.
Okay. So can I ask a question about that? Is 30 days really enough for somebody to kind of get past all of that and be able to, you kind of hear a mix in community about whether it's enough, whether it's not. And I think a lot of people get confused by the different things that are available.
I think it depends on the person. My own personal experience is no. It takes a long time to develop an addiction, a habit. Those traumatic events that happen, the trauma that happens that you utilize to lead you to substances in the first place, right? And my experience has been that I used substances to run away from something, to run from an emotion, to run from a trauma, to not feel stuff, to fit in, to all of those things that kind of are put on you when you're out there in society, right? So it takes time to develop that. You know what I mean? It's like if we look at statistics and the science behind addiction itself, right? And we'll kind of break it down a little bit, is that it takes you what we'll say, a couple of years to develop that serious kind of habit. And it doesn't start serious, right? It starts with like, just playing around with it, and then it kind of grows from there, right? So it's the same thing with recovery, right? When you come into recovery, you're starting to try to redevelop all of those good habits that you had prior to your addiction, right? And it depends on the severity of your addiction and how long you've been entrenched in criminal activity, criminal lifestyle, what you're doing to support that substance use, right? And what you need to do to kind of make that survive, right? So the recovery process depends on a few of those factors, because if you've been, I'll use my own example. So if you're living criminal lifestyle for 20 years, how long do you think your recovery should take?
Right.
Right? Like,
it makes perfect sense.
And if we look at the science of it, right, and the addiction itself as a disease, right, and that's most people's view or the lens that they use to kind of look at it, right? It takes time to develop. So primary treatment, aftercare, and then what are you going to do after aftercare, right? So they say in science and statistics is that 5 years, after 5 years of long-term consistent recovery and sobriety, the likeliness of you not to use after that 5 years is over 90%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And as you invest in your recovery each year, so the first year you have about a 70% chance that you're going to stick with recovery. You have a 30% chance or more, 30 to 50% chance you're going to relapse after a year. And that declines as that chance that you'll relapse declines as you consistently stick with your recovery program. But the science says that after 5 years, your likeliness that you'll go back are very slim, about 10%.
Okay. So the time makes and the work, I guess, that you put into it as well.
Right. Like you have to be rigorous. You have to be honest. You have to be willing to be open. You have to be willing to be, to look at the things you really don't want to look at, the ugly of addiction, right? Because those things that you've told yourself, because we all tell ourselves things in addiction when we're going through that process, like, I'm not worth it, I don't see myself as successful, or I'm unloved, or whatever the trauma may be, or the guilt, the shame, the you name it, right? You fill in the blank with the emotion or the thing that you beat yourself up with over that period of time. You're going to believe that. That's going to become part of you. That's going to become your identity.
That's a really interesting point, because, as you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking about all of the people in my life who have, at any point in time, and I work a lot with artists, so I hear it all the time, I suck, I'm not good, I'm not as good as, I can't do. And it's kind of a parallel in that, you hear that enough, it could be enough to push somebody to that extent where.
Well, absolutely, right? You learn to challenge those thoughts and ideas when you're in recovery, right? Like, you got to break it down to what's really in here and in here that you're telling yourself about you. Those words that you speak So you have the option to speak life, which is positivity, or speak death, which is negativity, right? So you have that option to speak those words, and those words become truth, and that truth becomes your identity, whether it's positive or negative. You choose that, right? Like that's how you look at yourself or how you speak about yourself is how you're going to live. That's how what you're going to manifest. That's how you're going to move forward, right? So if I tell myself like I'm a terrible person, I'm a junkie, I'll never have anything, I'm never going to be successful, I'll never have recovery, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Right.
Do you think it's worth having the conversations before somebody hits that kind of tipping point of where, hey, you don't, is there, it almost sounds like there needs to be, sorry, my dog is dreaming in the background. It almost sounds like there needs to be some kind of, programming before somebody hits that point, that, and I guess
it's really tough to catch yourself. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's the disease of addiction is very cunning, baffling, powerful, sneaky, right? You go from, experimentation when you're a teenager, or, the wanting to fit in with your friends, or wanting to belong because you've been bullied, or don't feel like you belong to a group and you want to belong to a group, or maybe there's some messed up situation going on at home or in your life, or maybe mom or dad are using drugs or alcohol or both, or you really just never know what the situation is, right? And when you don't have a person or someone to like really share those things with, right, you reach for those substances to make you feel comfortable. Right? And it doesn't start out like, oh, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and be an IV addict and I'm just gonna go for it, that's my plan. Like that doesn't happen. But it starts with, oh, I really don't want to feel this today.
That's such a common feeling too,
right? And then like as you continue to numb that emotion or not want to feel that thing, and you fill it in with XYZ substance or XYZ thing, right? Because there's pornography, there's gambling, there's, what I mean? You could fill your life with all sorts of addictions, right? So as you start to replace that, your body or your chemistry becomes dependent on it. And then that switch, that one little tweet is like, it's too late. Now I can't stop.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned in the beginning that you founded Firebrand with a pastor from Florida.
Yeah.
Is there a Christian connection to what you do?
I don't like to call it Christian, Carrie. I like to call it faith-based.
Okay, that's fair.
Because, and I'll kind of explain to you why. Because I feel that, a lot of, I don't know, there's been a lot of misinformation and a lot of things that have kind of branded Christianity as something negative or bad, or ruleistic, or you have to, this is what you got to do or you're gonna burn in hell, like, this. But the type of freedom that faith-based, that, because that's how I learned. I went in angry, I went in destroyed, I went in hating faith, hating Christianity, not wanting to have anything to do with it. But I went to a Christian program.
Okay. That's interesting.
Right? So I had to relearn what faith meant to me. And that's kind of where Firebrand comes from, is that point where it's a decision, it's a choice.
Right?
it's your choice. You have to make the decision that that's where you would like to go, where you would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, here's, you know, God is the creator and the existence of all being.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether you know, we can talk about that, you know, and it's somewhere where you get to be. It's not somewhere where you just walk into and go, oh, okay, I'm here.
Right.
Because in the along with the 12 steps of AA, faith and 12 step kind of go together. That's how it was originally created, way back when, you know, Bill created it. Is that faith and 12 steps went together. What happened, or what I feel happened, is that a lot of misinformation and the, you know, this is how it is, like it or don't do it or see you later kind of thing, forcing people to adopt those legalistic rules, and those kind of ways that you would kind of approach it, kind of get people a bad taste in their mouth, and they're like, no, that's not for me.
Right. When in actuality, it's, yeah.
Well, I had to learn the freedom of being able to accept it, being able to accept Christ on my terms.
Right.
And then develop the relationship from there. It was up to me to develop that relationship. It wasn't up to somebody else to develop it. And it states that in, you know, the 12 steps, is that you have to develop that relationship on your own.
Right. And that's really powerful as well, because you're then giving somebody a choice, whether they choose to or not is a personal, you know, you're kind of giving them back a part of the power that they should have in themselves, or the belief in themselves to make the right choice, or for them.
You got to walk through it. You got to walk through it with a sponsor, of course. Find somebody that, you know, the most important thing is find somebody you can trust, ask them what to do, and do what you're told.
Right.
Especially in recovery, because, you know, people that have been at it for a long period of time have made all the mistakes. They know what not to do. They know how to do it a little bit better than you. It's not that we're telling you what to do. We're trying to guide you around the speed bumps.
It's kind of funny, because when you're saying that, it reminds me of a program we actually have at our church, which, well, we did, called Secret Prayer Pals. And it was where the little ones were partnered up with somebody older who had, you know, an adult who had made mistakes, or, you know, whatever, knew more about life than the little guys. And it wasn't about pushing something on them. It was about connection. And teaching them that they were cared about no matter what. And if they, you know, got suspended from school, or they, you know, made a mistake, that person was still there. And they never knew who that person was until the end of a year. Yeah. And it was such a big, but just giving them that, you know, somebody is going to be there for me.
Yeah. You know? Well, a little bit different with a sponsor, you know who they are. You know, you gotta find, so one thing about a sponsor is I can say is you got to get to know people that are in long-term sobriety, ask them, you know, some questions, get to know who they are, right? Find someone that you can relate to, find someone that has something that you want, and ask them how they got it.
Okay. That's a really cool way of looking at it. I didn't know a whole lot about how you chose a sponsor once you entered a program. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. You got to find somebody that has something you want.
Right.
Because that drives your determination to get what they have. Right.
Okay.
So you're more willing to listen to someone that has something that you want. Because that's what you're after, is what they have.
Right.
And those sponsors can change as time moves forward in your path of recovery and your journey. It doesn't have to stay the same person. You can change your sponsor throughout time. Maybe, you know, you'll have a sponsor for year 1 to year 3, and you'll change at year 3 to year 6. Like it all kind of depends on what your goals are in recovery, what you're trying to acquire, what you're trying to get,
right,
what you want. Right?
So what ages do you work with primarily?
So I work primarily with men that are 18 to my own age, which, we'll say is older.
I bet you I've got you beat though.
So, no, I'm in my mid 40s. So
I've definitely got you beat.
but I like to challenge myself also. So I'm not opposed to any men that are outside of that as well. Firebrand Recovery was created as an aftercare kind of model.
Okay.
And Firebrand Ministries, which is the bigger part of Firebrand itself, has its own deliverance, mentorship. So basically teaching you all the basics of faith, how to use it, when to use it, what you need to understand. There's financial freedom, there's health and fitness, there's recovery, there's
Basically
a deliverance and healing ministry. So like it's basically like a training camp.
Right. It basically covers kind of all the facets of somebody's life.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's
And
really neat.
like we've grown this ministry. So my wife and I kind of are the admins of the recovery model. And then Pastor Josh and his crew in the US kind of take care of health and fitness, the discipleship program and all of that stuff. So there's different people that take care of each facet within Firebrand itself.
Neat.
Excuse me. And so like we really created it to make it available to people out there that want digital programming.
Right. So then you don't just, I'm assuming here, you don't just deal with people from North Bay then?
No.
Okay.
Like most of our clients right now are all US.
Wow. Okay. So then let me ask you this. Why North Bay? Why are you located in North Bay?
That's an interesting question. So mental health, addiction, recovery, Firebrand itself is kind of a secondary thing that I do. So I'm a very busy person.
Apparently.
Yeah. So during the day, I do Indigenous alternative dispute resolution for a nonprofit Indigenous organization.
Okay.
That has a community partner here in North Bay. And I service a catchment area from Timmins to Wasauksking.
Wow.
Yeah. So I help Indigenous families navigate child welfare. And we, together with the management and myself, created a youth program this year that I'm excited about, which helps youth in voluntary youth service agreements, customary care agreements, any long-term extended care to transition out of care or back into society. So we help them plan that. It's all a youth-led program.
That's got to be challenging. But I'm assuming also rewarding.
A lot of it is promotion. A lot of it's getting out in the community, being present at events, letting people know that we are here to help them, that this service exists, it's available to them, it's free, it's voluntary.
Okay.
So that's what I do during the day. Firebrand is something that I do outside of those daytime hours. And because of my own journey and because of my own success in that, I will always be keeping that going. My wife's also a certified recovery coach. Okay. And she does the women's part of that. So I'm very specific about gender to gender. I don't believe that men and women should coexist within recovery until it's later on in your journey because of relational transference, we'll call it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So my wife actually just wrote a book.
Oh, wow.
And she's been building a digital online format to help women get free from shame through faith of Jesus.
Mhm.
So her book is called Unashamed Woman. It is on Amazon. So
Okay.
all the listeners can find it on Amazon. She has T-shirts, and she's working on coffee mugs as well right now.
Oh, neat. Okay. I'll actually get the link from Amazon and post it in the profile for you when I
Yeah,
go live with this.
yeah. So I'm very proud of what she's been able to accomplish. She's just celebrated 9 years of sobriety herself.
Okay. That's cool. So you guys both have stories then.
Yeah, so that's kind of what the book is about. It tells her journey through addiction, in recovery, and how she kind of transitioned through that and out into it,
Right.
through her journey in faith.
Do you find as a partnership that having that and I know everyone's experience is individual, but kind of having that commonality where you can understand each other a little bit more, do you find that's a benefit to you?
Sometimes yes, and then sometimes no. So my wife is a little more different than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an all or nothing person.
Right.
I can't touch a thing, or we're in big trouble,
Okay.
right? Where my wife can have a glass of wine and put it down and be
Okay.
okay.
So there are differences.
There are differences, yeah. So
Mhm.
like she doesn't understand that part of me,
Right.
but I can communicate it, and I
Mhm.
know that that's not something I can do.
Communication is such a big thing. I know my wife and I struggled with it in the beginning. We would have these, you know, knockdown, drag out moments, for lack of a better word, where we would both just kind of go, I need to take a beat, because we hadn't figured out that communication point yet. I mean,
Yeah.
we're much better now, but it's taken work to get there.
So before my wife and I got married, we spent 4 years just talking.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you knew each other pretty well, though.
Yeah. So like we would have conversations about recovery, relationships,
Mhm.
scripture,
That's so important.
theology, that kind of stuff. Get to know who you are, what you're about, that kind of thing. So I believe in that process,
Mhm.
that it takes time to develop the right relationship,
Mhm.
right? I find that, and it's not all of society, but today's society, I find it, everybody's in a hurry to get to the last point instead of the first point.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I didn't want to start what I was defining as my last relationship to be, because that's what I wanted it to be when I got married, was the last one that I'll ever have.
Right.
Right. And I take those marital vows, very seriously, and that commitment seriously. So
Yeah.
we wanted to both make sure, because we both had healing to do before we
Mhm.
got.
Yeah. And I think that's, one of my hangups, or not hangups, but something I needed to change within myself, was knowing that it's, I'm very much the stoic person that likes to do it on my own. And having somebody come alongside and say, you know what, it's okay to not have everything in place, and be able to go and, talk to a counselor or talk to a therapist, which was something that was very, due to some mistrust issues early on with professionals, it was something I was very against. And that's been a turning point in our relationship, is knowing that, hey, that's okay to do that if you need to do that. And my other half, is very, very involved in that as well, where it's something that she values, is having that person to go to and talk to and hash things out with, that, before we hash it out with each other. But it's been a learning curve for me to actually put trust in somebody to value and want to help. and learning those techniques has been huge. But yeah, it was, I say it's one of the gifts she gave me, was the ability to believe in myself and be able to ask for help and know that that didn't make me a terrible person or a wrong person. And I hear a lot of that kind of echoed in what you're saying in building your relationship. We kind of did it backwards to that, but in building a relationship, you know, there were a lot of.
I think there's something, I don't know, neat about being able to develop the ability to communicate without using a professional that allows you to convey what you are thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
And then being able to use tools to adapt yourself to, you know, not get angry or display anger, or but to communicate it in a manner that like shares what you're thinking and feeling without, you know, making the other person feel like they're being threatened or attacked.
And that was our thing. We tended to do that. So we had to learn not to do that. And that was amazing to finally get to that point where we can have a conversation and not upset each other. But yeah.
I have to sometimes pause a lot.
We have a code now.
to make sure that I'm communicating it in a manner that expresses how I think and how I feel, but not come across the wrong way.
Yeah.
It helps that like I say, during the day I do conflict resolution, right? That's literally my job 24 hours a day.
Yes.
So sometimes taking that time to make, you know, I got to make sure my cup's full so I have somewhere to pour it out into. So you gotta take care of you.
Exactly. So you mentioned doing community events as well. So I know I've seen you at several. Do you have anything coming up that you're going to be at or promoting at?
Well, my next one is going to be the powwow in Temagami.
Okay, when is that?
That is July 11th and July 12th.
Cool. So people could talk to you there if they have questions.
They can always, if they need our Talking Together program, which is what the Indigenous Alternative Dispute Resolution Program is called, they can go to our website on the internet, and it is nanlegal.on.ca. So NAN legal.on.ca. All of our referral process is there on the Talking Together program.
Can they self-refer to that?
Yes, you can self-refer. Family can refer. Friend can refer. Anybody out there can refer. There's a referral form to fill out. There's a consent form to fill out, because I can't speak to anybody without proper consent. So those are the important things that need to be filled out. And then once that referral is sent to either myself or my manager, we can get that approved. All our cases usually involve a children's aid service or children family services. So the common ones that I work with here in North Bay are the North Bay Parry Sound, or Parnip as they're called here, and also Nijonsononic. The ones further up north towards Timmins, Kirkland Lake is Kunawanamano. Down in Parry Sound, it's kind of, I haven't had a lot of interactions with down there, but there's one that's out of Sudbury, and one's in Peel region as well. So
do you, off the topic of what you do for work, do you have hobbies or anything that you enjoy? Just to kind of,
I like to spend time with my multiple troops of toddlers.
Multiple troops of toddlers.
Yeah. So my wife and I tried for years to have kids.
Uh-huh.
Our first 4 years of marriage were spent trying to have children.
Okay.
We went, got all the testing, did all the things. You'll never have kids on your own.
Mm.
We're like, oh, okay, well that's sucky. So what do we do now, right? So we applied to be a part of a province-funded in vitro fertilization program.
Okay.
So we had to pay for the medication, of course, and we went through that whole process. So just imagine this, Gary. Okay,
Okay.
it's kind of, you're going to be like, what? How did you do that? So imagine you have to give your spouse an injection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, multiple injections in order to create the eggs at the beginning. Right.
Okay.
I'm an IV addict in recovery that like preferably doesn't really like needles a whole heck of a lot anymore. And now your main task is to give your wife 2 to 4 needles a day for the next 10 weeks.
Ouch.
Right? And it's like a subdermal right in the belly, and it's like nasty, right? And I'm like, here I am, like getting it all ready, and I'm like, what are they doing right now?
I mean, yeah,
right?
I can see it. I can
I'm
see
starting to
it being an
sweat.
issue.
She's like, why are you sweating? I was like, it's not the time for this conversation. But after I administered the medication, I kind of explained to her, like, because when you start to use substances intravenously, that becomes your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That becomes your partner. That becomes your life, your blood, the woman that'll never leave you is that needle.
Right.
Right. So every time you feel or don't want to feel, you can run to it, and it's a whole process so that you develop that relationship. So to break that relationship is like extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I found it extremely difficult. So needless to say, I had, at the first I struggled with being able to administer the medication, and I'm like, no, it's not about you doughhead. It's about her. It's about creating kids. It's about supporting your wife. So I was able to work through that. We ended up being able to create 5 embryos in that process.
Okay.
And with the province funded program, you can only implant 1 at a time.
Okay.
So the first one, no, didn't take. Okay. Next one didn't quite take, had a miscarriage. So the doctor says, okay, we're going to try one last time, but we're going to adjust the medication and how long you take it. We're going to give you 1 more day because they administer a medication in order to prepare you to accept the embryo. So they did that. Third one, success. We're pregnant. Well, my wife is. I'm not really doing it. So we walked through that. Our first daughter was born December the 8th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a little scary at the end, She wanted to really try to give birth naturally. Unfortunately, her pelvic bone is very small, so she wasn't able to do that. So we had to have an emergency C-section. The baby went into distress, the whole 9 yards.
No.
Went through all that process. And then as they got the baby out, everything's good. And then my wife developed this infection somehow. Can't really explain how it happened, but there was an infection inside of her stomach. They say it came from hand, foot, mouth disease of some sort, whatever. So then they had to treat her, and then all of a sudden, the baby, they're really concerned about the baby having this infection and being in the blood of the baby, and
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was super scary. And all I could think of at that moment was, okay, I'm going to pray. And, we just held hands together and prayed right there in the hospital. I didn't care who heard. I didn't care who saw. I didn't care anything. Like, just God, just fix it.
Right.
Right. Within 30 minutes, the whole situation turned around and they were not doing anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of miraculous. And like I say, those moments like that I've described happened to me throughout recovery and in the whole process of getting into recovery, going through recovery, and then getting married to my wife in the first place was all like moments in time that I feel that God stepped in and said, nope, this is for you, and that's not.
Right.
So after our first daughter was born, they're like, okay, well, let us know when you're ready for the next embryo, because you'll never have kids on your own. So just let us know when you're ready, right? If you ever have kids on your own, buy a lottery ticket. Like, okay, cool. Just go on doing our thing. Next thing you know, she says, well, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what? I thought that didn't happen. So, we were pregnant with our next daughter. So our first daughter and our middle are 18 months apart.
Oh, wow. Busy.
Yeah. I'm not done yet. So then we're like, okay, 2, that's a lot, and within those 2 years, right? Because she had to have C-section again because of the whole pelvic thing and whatever. So it was automatic C-section.
Yeah.
So we go through that, and she was born 2024. And then we're actively trying not to. And then, whoop, pregnant again.
Oh my gosh.
So our baby was born in 2025. So they're 13 months apart. So I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
At home.
That's crazy.
In my previous relationships before I met my wife, I had a common law spouse. So I've got 2 older kids that don't live with us. So they're 18 and 17.
Oh, wow. So you literally started again.
Yeah. Started all over.
That's crazy.
My 18-year-old will be graduating high school next week.
Wow. That's monumental. That's a life.
And then my 17-year-old will be the year after. So they were born 13 months apart. Actually, a year and 6 days apart.
Right. That's crazy.
Well,
that's crazy. But it's
they were unfortunate and didn't have their dad present in their life. I was too busy being silly and making my own selfish decisions and walking through recovery when they were like 6 and 7 and stuff like that. So
have you been able to rebuild those relationships?
Well, they're 17 and 18, Carrie. They don't want to really spend a whole lot of time with their dad.
Right.
But I try to spend as much time with them as I can, take those moments that I can.
Yeah.
They both work. They both, go to school. They both have good grades.
That's good.
One's got a partner, one doesn't, I try to see them as much as I can and spend as much time with them as I can. They know that they can text me anytime, whenever they want to come.
Yeah.
Their mom is no longer with us. She passed away in 2015 of an overdose.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. But I think knowing that they have somewhere to call on when they need it.
Yeah, they live with their grandpa, and he provides a good life for them. And he took on what I couldn't do in those moments, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's your story about infertility and then, oh, bang, bang. My parents adopted my older two siblings because they were told the same thing. And I mean, this is granted, my oldest sibling is 60. So this is back. And then, yeah, something happened because I showed up, and then something happened 7 years later and my brother showed up. But they were told the same thing. You can't ever, so they adopted.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting journey. We actually donated our last 2 embryos to a couple in Manitoba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you help somebody else hopefully have their dream come true.
Yeah, I believe that was what God was calling us to do, is to provide another family with the opportunity that He provided us. Because usually when you do IVF, you only get 1 or 2. It's very rare to get 5.
Right.
And I didn't want to have them sit there and not be used, or donate them to science or research. That those really weren't options for me. So yeah, I found another company. I believe they're out of London or Toronto, that helps match you with families that are looking for embryos.
Wow. I didn't even know that existed.
Neither did I until I started looking. So I was like, well, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I can just donate it, and you just got to sign a legal binding contract, and that's it. That's all. They're theirs, right?
Right.
If there's a child that's born, and they get to choose, and you develop the terms of the contract together with the family, and that's it.
That's cool. So do you have anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't touched on before we end?
I just think it's important to not be afraid to talk to someone. Whatever you're going through, whatever it is, find somebody you trust, talk to them, rely on them, ask them what services are available, know the services that are available in your communities, know what's out there. I've always been, since I've got into recovery and been out there sharing my story and kind of the success that's possible. So, sharing that with other people, there's value in that, right? If I can come from being an IV addict, criminal, no hope, no life, no nothing to show for anything, anybody can do it.
Right.
You just got to start somewhere.
I guess taking that first step, right?
Yeah. And, have faith and have trust in the process. It didn't take you 10 minutes to get there. It ain't going to take you 10 minutes to get out.
Right. Yeah, that's a really, I'm trying to find another word that's a sobering way to look at it. It didn't take you 10 minutes. It's not going to take you 10 minutes to get out.
No.
It really puts it into.
I know that was one thing I struggled with when I was in recovery. It's like, okay, well, when can I get back to life? I gotta go. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta. Right? And you're always in a hurry to get to where you think you should be. Right? Keyword is there is where you think you should be. You gotta, the toughest thing is just to, most of the time, just to sit back and wait to get to where you are, or where you are is just right where you're supposed to be. And you just need to wait some more time to walk out where you think you should be.
Right.
Because if we rush it, we'll screw it up.
Yep.
But,
very true.
I would just urge all listeners to subscribe to Firebrand Recovery. Go to our school community. You want a great women's book, please go purchase Unashamed Woman. Fantastic book.
Nice.
My wife is a fantastic author, and a very smart woman when it comes to recovery and recovery coaching.
Mhm.
And any Indigenous families out there that need help navigating child welfare, or youth that are navigating the family system itself and wanting to get assistance and help, they can contact you, and you're more than welcome to share my contact information with them. And I'd be glad to help any of the families or youth that need me or need our services. I'd be glad to help them.
Amazing. I'll definitely share it, and I'll definitely be including the links when I do post the videos. So we'll make sure that all of that gets out there. And we're also going to put it in the Northern Threads magazine that I run as well, and get it out there, because that does cover your entire catchment area. So that'll be a great way to get that out there. And we're just starting to run business cards, so we'll put your card in.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So that'll come out in the next couple of days. But yeah, I want to thank you so much, Gordon. You're always so willing to come on and do things or meet with people, and I really appreciate that. So I want to thank you so much for coming out today and spending some time just talking about who you are, what makes you tick,
Yeah, no problem.
a bigger understanding of what you do. I know I've had kind of snippets along the way, but now I have a bigger picture, and that's really valuable when I do send people to, different people in the community.
So I always take advantage of being able to share. You never know. You just never know what's going to happen from that moment in time, or who the one person that's listening that needs it the most is hearing it right now.
Right.
And if I don't take those opportunities, what did I miss?
Exactly. And yeah, I appreciate that so much about you. Just being out there. I always look forward to walking to an event and seeing you there. So it's
if you know of any, let me know.
I'm working on it. I'm
always willing to be there. So
absolutely, we'll get some stuff going. We're just getting back into the swing of things with other aspects of my ventures. So yeah, we're working on it. We'll get you out there. So, and us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I'm going to ask you to hang back once I end the recording, just for a few minutes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen in today and for hearing about another great resource in Northern Ontario. Again, anywhere from Timmins to Parry Sound, and beyond, and the States. We're going to post some links in the bio, so feel free to check those out once the podcast goes live. Thanks, guys.